Able to hear from the White House. We had expected to hear from President Biden, possibly, but we have officials there from the White House. Let's listen in.
Violence. I want to let you know that the President and the Vice President have both been briefed, and his administration will continue coordinating with federal, state, and local officials as we receive more information. We're grateful for the brave first responders who are on the scene, and we stand by, we stand ready to provide support as needed. As the President has said time and time again, this is not normal. This is not normal. Students and teachers deserve to know that their schools are safe. They should focus on learning, not lockdowns. While the President and Vice President have taken historic action to reduce gun violence, more must be done to keep our schools and communities safe. We continue to call on Congress to do something, We need universal background checks. We need ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, require safe storage of firearms, invest in violence prevention programs, and pass a national red flag law. Enough is enough. And I cannot say this enough, which is enough is enough. We cannot allow this to happen in our communities. We cannot allow this to happen in our schools. So we have to do everything that we can to keep our children safe, to keep the people who are supposed to protect our children, who are they supposed to learn from, safe. And enough is enough. Congress needs to act. Now, turning to my colleague from NSC, who's here to discuss the latest Biden-Harris administration.
And you've been listening to a White House briefing there from officials there.
Jean-Pierre.
Yes, from officials there at the White House, giving us a statement from the President Biden, essentially saying this is not normal, that schools should be safe, that faculty members who go to school, or children who go to school, should be focused on learning, not on active shooter scenarios that they have to practice multiple times. The President also saying he's grateful for first responders and will provide support to the Winder community as needed. And we're hearing that from multiple agencies who are willing to be there and help in any way they can. And to recap once again for you, the GBI reporting 4 dead, multiple hurt, 9 taken to the hospital, and a single suspect is in custody alive.